Like Nathan said on some shows, even if you could still control people by knowing the Earth is flat, really. Well, you could just say, well, yeah, it is flat. It's measured flat. We've got sea level and elevation profiles, but they could put other things in place, whoever they are, of course, because I don't know who they are. I keep saying they. That was the other thing, Nathan. I don't know if you're still there, mate. Not that it's
well, you can't deny the
problem.
elites. There are elites on deck.
Yeah,
we know who they are.
I know. I just wanted to say something about the book.
It's not about elites.
I wanted to say something about...
You know who they are. You know who they are.
Let me just say... Yeah. Well, I don't know who they are, but let me say something about the book. And I love the book, and I've just listened to a few things of it. I'm not going to go into thing in detail, but because we've always pulled people up when they say they and they. We say, who are they? But there's quite a bit of that in the book, I think. They. And I always, when it's been read out, or we've been and I've been listening, I'm thinking, who are they? Who are you referring to as they? Who are they?
Oh, wait a second. He's been changing all the days.
Has it?
Yeah. He said that to his wife.
Oh, I didn't know.
Why do I keep saying they? Who the hell are they? And he's been changing them. Yes.
I didn't know. Oh, well, there you go. I'm on point. I'm on point.
You were not around for the last edit one deck.
Yeah, but you can see how my mind's working similar to everybody else's then.
And if he's talking about ballers, he'll say they. But if he's talking about a certain just topic or situation, he's taking away the theys. That's the last I heard.
That was bothering me, but I didn't want to say anything. I felt a bit, I didn't want to say that really, but I'm just saying it to us now. And also the word globers. I mean, when you say they, I think we should say not they. You shouldn't say they. It's just what we've. I don't know how to. I'm not.
I think he's called them. The last word I think he used was heliocentrist.
Yeah, or the way we have been educated to believe, sort of thing. That's what it is. This is how we've been led to believe, not they.
Well, there's nothing wrong with globers. What's wrong with saying globers? That's what we all were, globalists, right? At one time.
I don't know. It just sounds funny to me, globers. If we're trying to get a professional book out, I'm thinking globers just sounds like, oh, you've got glober. It's like, you're not a glober. It's something you've been led to. Yeah,
that's an easy fix. All he's got to do is say, when I say globers, this is what we nicknamed them during the debate that we thought we were in. When I say globers, I'm pertaining to anybody who thinks we're living on a globe.
Just for your information.
Which is the majority.
What about this term I just came up with called glormies?
No, in the book they're being called globe believers. Where it formerly said globers, that every time it has appeared has been changed now to a globe believer, so that it's just more palatable, and you don't have to explain that word, glober. So
excellent.
Glober is now globe believer.
I didn't know you was here, Nathan. Sorry, I'm talking about you.
Nathan, if you want to go, how to say, large, you can describe everything what's happened in the last 10 years, even every word, because it was used. That globers is not. It's a part of the story. Let's say it's not something like, oh, this is like a mistake if you use that. No, that was used. People calling themselves or whatever, global or something like that. It was used.
Sasha, what I'm saying is I'm just thinking of a professional book going on the shelf, maybe in Waterstones eventually, and getting that way. Then people might pick that up and think, oh, I'm interested in this. So they won't. The glober or they. It's like, who are they? Who's the glober? We were trying to explain geography and how Earth's measured. So I'm just trying to say, like, I know what a glober is and how it's being used, and who they are. I can, but the normal Joe who might think, oh, I'm going to pick this book up and have a read. It needs to read well to them in the way that this is just the way we've been taught as in the educational system as agreed to teach us type of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's various other things that have been taken out, like describing specific social media platforms. So rather than it saying on YouTube, that does get a mention in the foreword or in the the first chapter describing what I did when it's about me specifically. But from there on in, what I have chosen to do is remove those references. So it might be the case that I say during the debate rather than on Flat Earth debate on YouTube, so that in 50 years, if it's read, it doesn't suddenly date itself with really dusty old references to the wireless, or you know what I mean? Things that by equivalent now we'd go the wireless. You're like, yeah, that means radio to people who are old.
Yeah, because when I see television in a book, I don't know what the hell anybody's talking about.
No, but I'm saying give it 50 years from now, television will be as dusty a term as wireless when you heard your granddad talk about hearing it on the wireless. So by that standard, I've removed things like reference to YouTube as much as possible. There are some places that it has to be in there, but for the most part, so it doesn't date it so badly with the elapsed time that I hope the book will, weather. I've removed some of those references as well, so it becomes more timeless.
I think what I was saying, and I'm glad you've said this now, Nathan and Neil, because I was going to jump in the other day and say about I felt cheeky jumping in and saying why we're using the word they. And I held back on it, and maybe I shouldn't have done, but it's already been addressed now, like that. But yeah, so for the reader, we want to. We need it's going to be a professional book for a reader with none of the terminology that we've been in this arena with, like arguing with globers and stuff like that. You need to pick it up, and it needs to be professional with none of the shit terminology that we've been using.
Yes,
I think that'll go down well.
Where there's a qualification for who they can be, I do, and when it's ascribed or had been before the editing that we're doing currently to some ethereal they, that's been removed. So if certain claims that I've been made or had made to date in the book, they've been removed, and it's been replaced with, this isn't my job, I'm not going to take it upon myself to make a claim about whatever the dome is, for example. But there's various things that are in light of our current rhetoric being drastically altered in the book as a consequence of that.
Yeah. I suppose it's hard when you've been like yourself, Nathan, involved with this with 12 years. We keep saying 10, but I think it's more like 12 or 13 for you. Is, you're going to use them terminologies. It's hard not to, even though we're going through this change now when we're saying we're not going to argue about this and we know the Earth's measured flat. How
many times we use the word argue? Argue. It's not an argument. You gotta correct yourself, right?
Yeah. You've got to think about the book as somebody, as a professional person, maybe who's just like,
Well, when we go through the final read-through, hopefully you'll be here. When it's all collated into one book, we'll go through it from start to finish. It'll take several days. And if there's stuff like that, that can be altered, If there's any remains of that sort of language, that can be altered.
Oh, well, I'm glad about that. I'm glad that you're on board. I mean, I didn't want to come across like jumping in.
Not at all. Just because I got screwed over by a couple of individuals doesn't mean that I'm not going to take advisement from my closest friends. Why wouldn't I? I would assume have got my best interest in heart. It's not like I suddenly distrust everybody. But, your input is valuable. So I'll hope to glean that input at some stage once it's at the point where, hopefully you won't have that many criticisms of it. You'll be like, no, I like all of it. It doesn't need anything changing. But if there's like the odd bit that you're like, well, actually you're referring to some ethereal they in this particular section, do you think that could do with altering? I'll be like, yeah, of course. Good job you highlighted it. I hadn't noticed. Contextually it made sense, so it got left.
Just Neil you've got to watch out for, mate. Yeah, Neil jumps right in. What's this theory word? Hypothesis? What freaking hypothesis? It's like that. It's like my cousin Vinny when he's going over the pictures with the guy. When you hear it, just shout it right out. If you see something one deck, shout it out. Don't be shy.
Yeah, and I'm not usually like that, but I mean, I've not been involved with the book reviews previously, and I've listened to a few lately, and I have made a couple of comments on the first one, but I kept listening when Paula and Nathan are reading it out, and they, and thinking, I don't like this they, and Glober, it's like, get
He
rid of
must
that.
have been. He must have been thinking about it hard because the other day Nathan was like, "Why do I keep saying they? Who the f is they? Take this they out."
Well, I didn't know this. I had not heard that. You see, and I'm being honest with you. I've not heard that. This is just coming from me now. I've missed that. But the last one I was in on, and I was quiet that day because I was driving a lot. I had something. I was just listening more than talking. And I'm thinking, just every time they say they, I don't like it. It's not sitting well with me. I understand what they mean, and I could read it and be and totally okay with it. But as for somebody else, maybe a newbie or a professional person picking the book up, it needs to be like, who are they? Who are you referring to? Because we pull people up on it all the time. Who are they?
This book being a timeless classic has got a small problem. If next year everybody realizes that the Earth is flat, then it will be classic, but it won't be timeless anymore, will it?
I'm willing to make a bet that is not going to happen.
In next 100 years, for sure.
You just don't know, do we? We don't know.
No, with this opinion, what we heard in last 10, 12 years, these opinions of people, random people on the internet, about, I will say, even 200 years.
So
Getting the logic,
I don't think it's that. Hold on, I don't think
intellectually
it's that
thinking,
far off.
asking the questions, that's that kind of stuff. 100 years.
Hold on a
Make it a
second. No. So what you're saying is it's only reaching a small part of the internet. I do not think so. I think you're way off on that.
It reached a lot of internet, but still it's nothing comparing the people who believes in a globe.
I don't know. It's big in Belgium.
It's big everywhere, Neil. But if you go outside, you will find out there is like nobody's believe that Earth is flat.
Yeah,
I mean,
I mean,
yeah, but Sasha, I don't really do a lot of social. I do the Instagram. I don't do Facebook and all that. But now and again, I've had some feeds popping up with, and it does look legitimate to me. It was just like an ordinary woman talking about her education at school, and she's heard people talking about the shape of the Earth, and she couldn't believe it at first, and then she's voicing the opinion that, well, to tell you the truth, when I think about it, well, it makes sense. So I'm seeing a lot of that.
Okay, hold on one deck. You're poo-pooing a very serious thing here. YouTube is bigger than TV. Freaking this TikTok is worldwide. You're acting like this is not like a source of information, a place where you can get info and people not watching it. There's more people freaking watching TikTok than you know. I can assure you that.
Where everybody knows your name. Dum, dum, dum.
I'm telling you,
Got
man.
to take it to Antarctica, baby.
I'm freaking looking for this song by Weezer, and I can't find it until I look at it. It's We Us or something.
You're the magical music guru. You are, mate.
I'll be getting a lot of pushback on Paul McCartney is dead. Oh my gosh, you got to hear the stuff I'm getting. You freaking moron. Anybody can make AI video of their vein being the same as it was in 1964. You fell for that.
You still think Jim Carrey's alive, mate?
This poll is dead. This has got to be like it really triggers people. Like flat Earth type triggering.
Listen, the globe predicts the sun will set at a certain angle, and that's the globe prediction.
Hey, I was listening the other day that show with now. Man, she wasn't getting it, was she? One Dick.
Oh God,
He said, "How old are you?" You know what, Neil? You're a jerk.
I know.
I didn't
I
say
don't.
that. One Dick
It's
said
fu-
that.
I know. I don't. Sometimes I don't kick off often, but sometimes I just lose my temper a little bit, like I did with Sugbuster,
Yeah,
and I
but
did with
listen,
her.
you have an accent from the UK. I have a Brooklyn accent. Now, to mix us two up, somebody's not paying attention. And it's probably the one that was doing all the talking. Now. You can't measure time. Yeah, well, 2 weeks ago. What'd you say about 2 weeks ago? How'd you measure that? She wasn't,
And I
she
said,
just wasn't getting it.
how old are you? She went, 42. I said, well, how was that measured? How was that time measured? Oh, fuck. Yeah.
You
She's got
can't
triggered.
measure time.
I always remember asking Nathan, I've said this a few times, because I was thinking about things before the 30 words and like had the argument.
We've lost you.
Too far, Nathan, when I'm having an argument with the Globers and telling them, like, if they ask somebody the time and then telling them that they need a flat earth for that. Because that's what I was doing. And I thought, am I taking it a bit too far?
No.
But then Nathan said, no, because it's time zones. It's like sundials. It's an elevation angle of the sun above sea level. That's how we measure time.
Well, it's
And I'm thinking, am I
arbitrary.
taking this?
How we describe us measuring time has been ascribed based on our observations and measurements of angles of the sun to come up with a conceptual way of describing that motion. We call that concept time. Now, can we measure it? Yeah, you've qualified it in all the ways perfectly satisfactorily when you're describing somebody's age. You could say, no, we have a new system. We're going to call that cycles. So how many cycles are you? As in how many sun cycles? But we don't. We've qualified it in a particular way that we've all agreed on societally. We call that time. So when that woman was saying we can't measure time, what she's fishing for is time's conceptual.
Yeah.
And our time, the one we use, is arbitrary. That's what she's trying to say when she's saying you can't measure time. You're like, no, we have described this quite satisfactorily, conceptually, and we've all agreed on it societally. We all know what we mean when we say time. We all know what we mean when we look at a watch. But to say that the watch is time is a reification fallacy, and to say that we can bend and warp it when we've described it in this conceptual manner is a step too far. It's beyond reification. It's inventing
Exactly.
dimensions off the back of a concept that we've derived from flat Earth angle measurements. So to round this all out, you can absolutely ask somebody how they're going to measure Earth flat for that without it making dissent or not making sense. It does make sense. How have we derived time? But how have we derived time? It's like what? So it's arbitrary then. It's how we have come up with it. Yes, that's correct. It doesn't mean it's not real. It doesn't mean that you can't describe things accurately in that way. Is the system perfect? No. That's why I'm currently saying to the audience, are you going to come up with a new system of time? Because these are all the roads that lead to the flat Earth prerequisites that they've been based on. And those are just facts. That doesn't mean that they're bad. It doesn't mean that if you could ascribe heliocentrism to time itself, that makes time as we use it bad. Bastardizing it and bending it, warping it and dilating it, you're like, oh my God. To suggest that we've got time lines that we can travel and time travel, you're like, no. You're working outside the boundaries of the convention and the measurements it's based on. A bit like heliocentrism itself. But ultimately, when you boil it down to brass tacks, we need a flat Earth for time. Sorry, whoever that was, go ahead.
It's interrupting. That was a very good conclusion that was getting ready to happen.
That was my wife.
That's
You
no worries.
picked
I
the
was
right
just done.
time, didn't you,
I was
mate?
done.
What's in the bathroom?
We derive time conceptually by the movements measured off a flat plane, and there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean we can't measure it. It doesn't mean that our arbitrary ascribing of a particular way of describing it is incorrect. It's not particularly accurate. We could do better, I suspect. It doesn't in any way vary as the sun varies when we describe the 12-hour cycle. So it's a bit crap, but it's all right. We all know what we mean when we ascribe 1 year to our age and then divide that up into 365 and then describe how that's going to function on the face of a clock. That's all perfectly acceptable, and you can happily describe that as measuring time. Yeah, like I say, it's only when you work outside the boundaries of the convention that problems occur. And that's ultimately when somebody like her says we can't measure time, you're like, well, what, you can't observe the sun moving? What, you can't look at a watch? What are you talking about? You can't give yourself a number that's been ascribed to the number of times the sun went round in a particular pattern? I mean, what's wrong with you? But conceptual, it is. It's definitely conceptual. It's definitely arbitrary. It's definitely not perfect.
What will happen if you don't have 20?
We understood what she was saying. She just wasn't understanding what we were saying. She was somewhere in freaking NASA and getting closer and closer to predictions of freaking eclipses or something. It's not what we were talking about.
What I was saying, Neil, is like at the time, however long ago it was when we was developing ourselves and coming, I was thinking, well, time is, I was looking at, how they used to measure, Horus, is it Horus they used to call it? Horus hours. They used to measure the sun above the horizontal for, when it appeared at so-called sunrise at 6 a.m. and then as it risen in the sky, they give that a time. It's an elevation angle measurement, and then you've got your sundial. So I started telling people, like, if you've got what time is it, please, mate? Well, it's 6 o'clock. Well, you're going to need a flat Earth for that. Now, at the time, I was thinking, and I know, but I wanted Nathan's backup on it because I'm thinking, am I going too far here? I've got it, and what Nathan's just said is confirmed it all. Time it's a measurement, and it's a measurement from sea level, like everything is. That's the horizontal sea level. That's how we measure time.
Absolutely.
On Earth. Now, if that's not telling you something, then but when you say to someone, they think you're a lunatic. But when you say you're going to need a flat Earth for time, they can't comprehend. But that's how time has always been measured, from the light in the sky we call the sun, and its elevation angle above sea level at different angles. You've got sunrise in the morning. You've got 90-degree zenith at noon, and then sunset. Yeah. And we measure that time, and this is a cycle, and it's measured from flat Earth. So I just asked Nathan many, many months ago about that because I was like, oh, am I getting a bit too... And Nathan has just agreed and confirmed, yes, we're correct.
I mean, I do it too. I say that's a good... I say it's good to point out. But they can just say whatever they say, just like it's arbitrary. They can just say... I point to a star, and then when it gets back to that star, it's a year, and then everything else from there, I just divide using a unit system of 60. I don't know where it is in elevation above anything else. I just know that star, I put my finger to it. When it gets back there, I call it a year, and then the sun is, just in relation to that.
Eratosthenes was the one who confirmed all that when he invented the sundial, didn't he?
Well, yeah, he measured a flat, did that, and I think he had something to do with measuring latitude in the first instance, which is in elevation. I mean, all the globe proofs, apparently, the globe calculations, when you look at the actual physical measurements, are flat Earth measurements, which are then calculated into a globe, which is why the globe Earth calculator is called a calculator and not a globe Earth measurement tool.
Well, your sundial basically is a flat with a stick sticking up, isn't it?
Yeah, you need to level it, and it needs to be horizontal, and you'll be getting an angle between the vertical stick or dial and then the horizontal shadow. Tell you the time, to measure the time.
Measuring the time, that was it. Flat, level, with your stick stuck in it.
Yep. And you can use
what
the
I
Earth
found,
for that, you know.
one day. Okay. Well, I was just going to say, what I found is that in order to make any kind of measurement, whether it's regards to time or anything else, like just you change the subject around, you're going to need like a reference frame, like an absolute reference frame, and that's where where you guys we're deriving that level must be horizontal in order to establish a reference frame. But they go to just skip all that.
Who's they?
So they measure from that reference. That's their.
Who's they?
The anti-flat
Who's they? Yeah,
They
who's
establish their axiom as globe.
Yeah, you're breaking up too, no
Saying
thanks. You're like
anti-flat
clipping.
earthers, the
I've
other day.
Oh, he's clipping for me. I don't know if he's clipping for everybody.
Yeah, he was a bit. I think it was no tank. Sorry, mate. He was a bit roboty there, my mate. So maybe come back in and talk a bit slower.
Okay, carry on.
Quite interested in what you were saying. Was quite interested to hear what you were saying, mate.
Yeah, he
You're
was saying
saying
something
all
about the
measurements
star. He
require
used
an
the
absolute-
star to measure time.
You're saying all measurements require a plane of reference in the first instance. They all are derived from an original, I can't remember what word he used, but like master plane of reference, an overall reference that you will use for all of these descriptions. And he's correct. It's the same. It's a long form way of saying all roads lead to flat Earth. So it doesn't matter what you pick. If it involves a measurement that's directly relatable to Earth, it will always be flat and require the axioms of horizontal, perpendicular. You know, all of these things will always hold true if you're measuring Earth, is the point.
Of course. Unless you tell me another way of measuring it. While I laugh.
There isn't another way. There's only one way.
Exactly.
You can't
So I
measure.
said, while I
You
laugh.
can't measure. Yeah, you can't measure something from nothing. You've got to have something to measure something from. And
Exactly.
if you're talking about the measurement of Earth, sea level is the baseline principle, 0 degree level horizontal baseline for all elevation profiles on Earth.
Always been. Even Bev says that.
Yeah, but it's not. Sea level's not a tool that's been invented by man. Yeah.
No, it's a tool invented by God.
Yeah, it's the Earth that we use. Yeah, we're utilizing the surface of Earth, sea level, as our measuring stick for all heights and valleys, elevation profiles, for mapping, navigation, and everything else. We was given this. We was given the sea level. We didn't make sea level up. It was just there for us to use, and we had to use it to the best of our ability. And that's what we've done.
Well, we've been held, as the people that came up with the circumference of the Earth, right? It's put on us now. Because it says that Nathan and refracted both stated the circumference of the equator is 24,901 miles. Now, maybe they have on a show, but our measurements, did we take those measurements?
How do they measure it? They got a big tape measure, go all the way around the middle.
See what they're getting mixed up with. We'll go on to this now. We can have a little bit of a discussion between ourselves about this. But what they're getting mixed up with, right, is in celestial navigation, you do take, say, 3 sightings of a star, and you do plot out your circle of equal elevation or altitude, yeah, to get your radius to fix your point. Now, that's what happens in celestial navigation. That's what they do. Yeah. Now they're now bringing latitude into this and saying, you're saying latitude's a circle of equal elevation. Now, I've never said that to anybody. Now, we may have done, but don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to stir anything up, but latitude is an elevation angle measurement. We don't need to actually draw a circle for latitude. We just know it's an elevation angle measurement from sea level. And the sea level is the baseline for the elevation angle measurement. It's not curved. But they're throwing, well, you're saying latitude's a circle of equal, they bring in celestial navigation into latitude.
Yeah.
That's where the crossover mix-up is. That's what they're trying to confuse. Now, we shouldn't, I don't think personally we should be saying, well, latitude is a circle of equal elevation. It's just an elevation angle measurement from Polaris. And if you move back and forward or whatever, you're going to get a different elevation angle measurement from sea level, not measuring curvature. Just an angle measurement, elevation angle measurement. They're saying you're saying it's a circle of equal elevation.
I couldn't
No,
give a
that's-
shit. Once I get one measurement that gives me a flat Earth measurement, I don't care about everything else. If that one elevation angle gives me like freaking 2,400 flat miles, I don't have to do anything else. The game is over right there.
Yeah, I agree, Neil. I think we have said, I may have said it in the past myself, that the latitude is a circle of equal elevation. I may have said that. I'm not saying it isn't, but really the fact of the matter is the latitude is an elevation angle measurement from Polaris using sea level. And that's all you need to know. Simple as that.
Do you know that Fisherman in a Box put out a video the other day of this kid with a sextant? Young guy going over the sextant? Spot on, man. Maybe it's like freaking a 2 or 3 minute video. Talks about all of that. Now, he doesn't, I don't know if he's a flat earther. He doesn't get into anything saying it's flat or anything. He's just demonstrating how you use a sextant. And it's really a good video. I wanted to tell you about that, Nathan, but I forgot. But I'm gonna put it in. Maybe look at it. Have a look at it tomorrow.
Yeah, great.
Well, we go over that tomorrow, but the
Regular
simple fact
freaking
is-
guy. And he's spot on, man. He talks about the Alex, and you could take circles of equal altitude, and he tells you why you're doing it, what you're trying to accomplish, and it's great.
Let's go over it tomorrow. What's going on? Saying that I'm not around tomorrow. I've got a hospital visit, and then I've got something else going on. I'm out of the picture tomorrow. Not that you've got to stop the show for me or anything like that.
You wanted to go over. You wanted to go over the main surveyor and who and what's it or was it Bev? Or
No,
what's
it was Bev. Like I said, I stumbled across a 3-year-old video of Bev debating Toon and the main surveyor, and Bev was doing a belting job. I was like, thumbs up, Bev. I thought it was a recent video, thinking, fucking hell, he's changed his tune. Telling him like, it's horizontal and all vertical heights above sea level, and datums are referred to sea level, and elevation change is, and it was just like talking sense. Thinking, I like the sound of you, Bev. You've changed your tune, and then I looked, it was a fucking 3-year-old video.
Years ago. Hey, one deck, I put it in Master B, and you could clip that on around the 50-second mark, and this kid starts getting into it. Brilliant video.
I will have a look. I'm just driving at the moment, but we'll have a look there, yeah.
Well, you save that one for your day, and then you do whatever you guys said you're going to do tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it'd be good. We've not done a video for a while, Nathan. So yeah, maybe that one, Nathan. And it might be without slagging Bev off. I know what Bev. We all know you can't do F all with an angle, but it just he probably does watch the show, and it's just he is sort of saying what we're saying. Which, like I said earlier, you can't alter what Bev's saying because horizontal is horizontal, and all vertical heights are above sea level, which is what Bev is saying. Yeah, which is, it doesn't matter who's saying it, that will never change. That's just the way things are. That's the way things are measured. People can go through trauma, psychological dilemmas, and start to change their view on things or think they've got a different opinion on these things, but it doesn't alter the fact that horizontal is horizontal, and all vertical heights will be above sea level.
So the way he's got the video is you got the young kid going over it, and then another guy pops in. I wonder what flat earthers are saying about celestial navigation. So I don't know if the guy's a glober, but then boom, it goes to the kid, and he's describing how he's taking freaking measurements with the sextant of elevation angles. Brilliant video, man. I don't know where Fisherman in the Box dug this one up, but it's short, sweet, and to the point.
Yeah, I'm definitely down for covering that tomorrow.
Well, I will remind you, I put it in Master B, but I'll probably repost it again tomorrow. I'll get the exact timestamp where it started. That way you could just go right through it. Brilliant. And he's right on the ocean. I mean, you see he's on a boat. And he says, one day you may need to use it. And you got to know what you're doing. I think that's how he phrased it. If you lose your iPhone and everything goes down and you have no way of navigating, you're going to need to use this sextant. Does anybody know what happened with Adam P? Adam that used to come in here. I seen he left Master B the other day. I don't know what happened. I can't get in touch with him.
No, I assumed it was by accident.
Yeah, I noticed that myself the other day.
No, I reached out to him in Discord. I reached out to him in freaking, private messages. Nothing.
Turns out he's a heliocentrist.
Hold on. That's something you don't leave Master B by accident.
Or
There's
a train
no
spy.
button. Yeah. There's no button that you're going to accidentally hit. You have to go to a certain thing and you have to find it and then you have to leave the conversation. Sort of like, well, what's his name did.
you never know what someone's going through. So
Yeah, I don't think it's anything bad. I just hope everything's all right. So I'm asking if anybody heard from him. Anybody know what happened? How's things in the UK? You getting your country back yet?
well, we're making inroads with Restore Britain.
Just kick all the piece of shits out like we're doing. That's it.
Yeah, the problem is, mate, is there's a lot of communist traitors in the country.
There's a lot of them here too. Find them, kick them out. Or send them to, see, you're not as big as America. That's the whole thing. Like, we have pockets and we push them all to the pocket. You could have the Minnesota pocket, the Chicago pocket, the freaking New York pocket. But I think people are really waking up in New York. They're like, what the hell have we done? You notice the problem when a person's getting sworn in America with his hand on the freaking Quran.
Yeah, I don't
Run
know
for
if
cover.
I don't know if it's because there's a lot of them over here, but they're generally the people that shout the loudest. And if you have an opinion contrary to theirs, you're instantly a Nazi and worse than Hitler.
To be honest, yeah, there are social tensions, social issues, and cultural problems, and colonizations and groups. It's all messy, but the main problem is that there's just too many people. We're an island, a small island. We haven't got the services
Agreed.
to provide for the amount of people that are here.
I agree, 100%. That's why I always use it like a house. Like, if you got a certain size house and you want to be Mr. Good Samaritan, you start bringing people in off the street to live in your house, it's not going to be too long before your kids are getting kicked to the floor and they're eating all your freaking food and your kids are eating freaking cream of wheat.
Why do you care what book someone's got their hand on when they get sworn in? Who gives a shit?
No, that's just the point of it. Never been done in the history of America. The guy's a commie bastard. All right, that's number one. Now, remember, when it was freedom of religion, it wasn't freedom of any religion. It was freedom to worship the God of the Bible. All right? People don't realize that. Change that shit as the years went on.
That doesn't sound like freedom. That sounds like dictatorship. You're free
No,
to work
freedom.
to
No,
worship this
listen.
person.
Stop defending the Muslim faith that came 600 years. It is totally antichrist. I understand you went to school with them. You call it what it is. It's a demonic freaking book that has no comparison to what's being said in scripture. Read history on that shit. Can't even read it. It don't even flow.
Can I give a quick synopsis of the issue, right? The UK and the US are in debt beyond comprehension, and everybody wants to increase public spending, and there's just very few people who wanted to decrease it. If we lived within the means that we're spending in countries, within our households, we'd be bankrupted and in prison.
Exactly. Time to shut the freaking door, send everybody back home. That's it. Nothing wrong with that.
And cut the social programs until we've cleared our debt, and then we'll consider what we turn on after we clear the debt.
Well, Trump
It's like in the
that.
UK, we've only just paid off the debt from the Second World War a couple of years back. It's ridiculous.
The debt from the Second World War. From what? Because I know you got bombed to all hell. So how are you in debt?
I'm not personally, but our country.
No, I'm saying, how is Britain in debt?
What, is it to the IMF? Is that who they pay the money to? I'm not sure. Get
out of here. Tired of that shit too. took care of that too. Trump, I forgot, he gave the speech the other night how many millions of people he got off food stamps. Now, these are the people that will play in the system, selling their food stamps, right? Being on it for freaking 20 years while working and freaking got 3 different cars in their driveway. Yeah. Time to clean up the shit. If you need it, you get it. If you're going to play the system, bye-bye. Just take some balls to get in there and do it. And people don't have the balls because of the freaking backlash you're going to get from the commie bastards or the freaking Marxists. And the funny thing is, not one freaking Punjabi voted for that prick. I'm sure there were a few, but the main ones, the majority of them, they stood clear of that freaking guy.
Because they see
they
him for what
know.
he is.
Yeah, they knew he was going to be in their wallet in a second. And that's exactly what he did. Hold on. Yeah, he immediately went into some thing that they called for rainy day funds and stuck that money out. And who do you think's going to have to put that money back in? Oh, their taxes went up now. Welcome. Welcome to the guy you put in office, you dumb son of a bitches.
Yeah, for some reason they think, well, if I tax this person to death, they'll just stay here. And actually, no, they won't. They'll just leave to somewhere where they're not taxed to death. And then suddenly the investment shrinks in your town, and half the jobs go. But I guess with New York, they assume it's too big to fail, right?
Yeah, but New York is freaking broke, bro. They are freaking broke. Do you know in those snowstorms, they didn't send out the freaking trucks? You had to shovel yourself. If you had a business, that's too bad. Better get a shovel and dig yourself out because the freaking the plowers are not coming through. They weren't getting paid. They were all shut down. I still think they got their government shut down in New York. I don't think they reopened. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about nobody. They just want their own way. They'll pout till they get it.
Yeah, I'm really excited about Rupert Lowe in our country, though. He is a man with high credentials. He does what he says he's going to do, has a track record of that. And as well, he's utilizing the social media and the influencers. So anyone who's on the right and puts out content that's worth listening to, like, you have a chance of being contacted by him and being a part of his. So, yeah, he's open to his constituency.
Well, let me ask you a question. Is it still like frowned upon? Is it okay to have British pride? to be proud to be a Brit? Are they frowning on that still?
Well,
Like
yes.
every
in the-
other freaking
in the
country,
cities.
like in America, every other freaking nationality could have their pride, but you can't be proud to be an American. That's a sin.
I was being told over curry with Craig that you're not allowed to be proud to be white.
Oh, that's bullshit. Well, I'm not white. I'm Italian. I'm proud to be Italian, but if I was white, I'd be proud to be white.
Did anyone see the clips of that fella from the documentary John's Not Mad? The fella with Tourette's shout the N-word at the awards. That was fairly funny, especially the way everyone's reacting after it.
I didn't see that. What happened?
Basically, there's this guy that's mentally disabled. He's got Tourette's. He was at some awards in England, and there was a couple of black actors getting an award. And one of these ticks, he just shouts out the N-word. But there's been other awards where all the black people are saying, well, I'm proud to be black and this, that, and t'other. Whereas if a white person or a Chinese person said that on that stage, you'd be vilified for doing it. But they're also trying to justify saying that if he was there, then they'd kick fuck out of him. So it's like, yeah, you've got no respect for anyone with bloody mental disabilities. I found it all very entertaining.
It's all a big show. I did find it funny when Trump gave that speech the other night. He pointed to the Democrats. He goes, "These people are crazy."
Yeah, the State of the
They
Union
were
was
sitting there all
fantastic.
pickle puss.
Yeah, he made the Democrats look like absolute dickheads through that. And where he was like, stand up if you want to put the needs of the American people before illegal immigrants. Then not one Dem was standing. Maybe John Fetterman was. I think he's about the only decent guy in there.
Yeah. And he said, "These people are crazy." Oh, boy.
Half the world does TDS, but I find him absolutely hilarious. And I think he's well needed.
I heard a political commentator sum it up quite recently within the political sphere, and it's quite it parallels with ours, where he said that people in the West are too caught up on abstract ideas. So they put what they want to be before reality.
I'd say they're correct. It's true.
Like no borders, and we can welcome everyone from every third world shithole.
No borders. You can open up your prisons and have them filter our streets, right? You can do whatever you want, and one day it's going to be utopia when everybody makes the same amount of money. Where a billionaire shouldn't be a billionaire. You should share that with thousandaires, and thousandaires should share it with. It's a joke. It's not reality. You're right. Whoever said that was spot on.
If everyone earned the same, there'd be no incentive to work hard.
I agree. I feel that everybody does a little. I wouldn't have to do anything at all.
The Puritans figured that out when they first came here. They had a garden, and it was open to everybody in the colony to eat from it. And it didn't take them long to realize there was some slackers that weren't doing anything and just taking the food. And then they put a rule up. If you do not work, you do not eat. You have to help to keep this garden flourishing.
That reminds me, Nathan, just before I forget, when I looked, there was an absolute abundance of book reviews on YouTube. So I'll look for some within the 5-week period before your book's released, all being well. But that is an easy catch for yourself. So if you sat there and you're bored and wondering what to do, find a load of book reviews to find that, get their contact information.
Perfect. Yeah, that sounds great.
They're already in your genre, whether I like it or not. So,
well, that is kind of one of the things that I liked about the fact that a book being produced opens your door to people who are interested in books. Full stop. It's just another avenue, isn't it? It broadens your horizons having a book.
Yeah, totally.
It becomes a tool. Forget the content. I mean, it's going to be ace, but you know what I mean? Forget the actual subject matter discussed in the book. It's just a tool to be in front of people that have an interest in discussing books and literature.
Yeah, and using the sales analogy you said, it's just a numbers game. So the more you request, the more yeses you'll get.
Yep, absolutely correct. It's just the sales numbers game. It's the rule of 10. I'll end up on one show for every 10 that get contacted directly.
I don't know. This subject is still pretty juicy. It may be more than just 1 out of 10. And you're the last survivor, Nathan.
I mean, I could probably get some more accurate statistics if I could talk to Dave Weiss. Just ask him what his conversion rate was. Or is. I don't keep up with David Weiss, but he's out there on the circuit doing exactly that. And he's only achieving that by contacting them and saying, can you have me on my show?
Well, maybe it's about time you contact him again. I don't think he'll hold a grudge. You think he's the type of guy to hold a grudge? I mean, you tried to help him out,
Possibly.
that's all.
I mean, personally, yes, I do occasionally have a tendency to hold a grudge. But from a business perspective, that's a different hat, isn't it? Put those things aside. He's on the list. I'm sure you heard when I read it out on the live show today. Dave Weiss is on that list.
Jagdo was asking are you serious about Jaron? I'm like, yeah.
Just another person
sure
with a YouTube
serious.
channel. I'd be more keen to talk to him than somebody who was just a book reviewer. He's literally got a direct connection to the subject matter. Why wouldn't I want to put my book in front of him and say, you can make 30%? All he ever used to moan about when he was talking to me was the little that he would be earning from this subject as it's been censored. He always was mercenary and always wanted to earn more money. He was always interested in talking about how to generate more ad revenue. That was his motivation. So if I go in front of him and go, you can have 30% of my book.
Poisoned by our well, Nathan, as well.
Say again?
So he might be more. He won't be poisoned by the well we're in, by the pond we're in. So he'll be more open to the information anyway. Hopefully.
Maybe. What I'll dangle in front of these people is, you get 30% of the book sales. That's it. Have me on, talk about a book for half an hour, and then you get 30% of anybody that comes along and buys my book while we're alive, talking, or while you put out the pre-recorded material that you've edited. You can have a link below it and you get 30%. It's easy.
Money talks, bullshit walks. He has money, they'll be keen to do it. No problem.
Exactly. I mean, it won't motivate everybody. Some people will be like, no, I'll get back in touch with you when I can find a wanker to oppose you, because I don't have the knowledge and can't be bothered to acquire it. I find this stuff quite tedious. But look, I know a guy with jam jar for glasses, and I'll put him in front of you and just watch.
And by watch, they will mute you.
Possibly, but as long as I've had the opportunity immediately to declare my book, and then every second word, because I'm in front of a wanker, I'm talking about my book, then I'm happy. It's like, okay, you bought on a wanker. Why? Because you needed pain relief and are too dumb to study the subject and argue with me yourself. So you've gone and got, I don't know, Dave McKeegan to come and talk shit with you. You're like, so you're friends with these dweebs, are you? Wow, that's interesting. You've got these dweeb army behind you to fight your battle for you. That's what I'll just take the piss out of the host if that's what they're going to do. But my bullshit detector's pretty strong, right? I never did any of the publicity in the newspapers or on the YouTube channels when this subject first came around for me, and I was starting to be a rising star in flat Earth, if you want to call that. The amount of times that I was given the opportunity by people like Mark Sargent to go on people's shows, people's podcasts, in the paper, whatever, right? And I would do the same thing with all of them. You get in touch with them, you try and build a bit of rapport, and when you fail miserably, you go, I smell her out of you. I don't think this is going to be to my benefit. And when they were receptive and nice, you're like, yeah, okay. Even if you do shag me over, that'll be like, okay, I'll learn something on how to make better judgment calls. But like Vice is a perfect example, right? I went on Vice, and other than them putting some theremin music over, the woo, other than them putting that music over the top of me and what I'm saying, they didn't do a terrible job. Not at all. They just let me talk, asked me a few questions, talked about being a flat earther. That was it. Perfectly acceptable publicity. It ended up getting millions of views. You're like, great. Lots of people.
How did that one come about, Nathan? Did you approach them or did they find you?
I don't know. I doubt I was proactively looking, so they probably found me or were put in front of me by someone like Mark Sargent, who would have referred me. I don't know if it was Mark. But my point is that there was loads of those, and I used to just turn them down one after the next, because each and every time I'd try and get build a bit of rapport with whoever it was that had contacted me or I'd been put in touch with, you'd go, you seem quite standoffish with me, or unreceptive, or unwilling to communicate in a nice back and forth way that seems casual. In other words, you're not willing to build any rapport with me. Now, that to me says, you're going to shag me over, aren't you? And you damn well know it. So you don't want to pretend to even be my friend. It takes too much effort. Just will you come and talk to my producer, my writer, my whatever it is they wanted me to put me in front of. Like, sure, what's their name? Let's have a little chat with them. Oh no, we wouldn't want you to talk to them before you met them. Why not? You want me to spend my precious time with this person, and I'm not allowed to talk to them before I meet them? Why wouldn't I want to talk to them? Of course I do. And you'd be like, okay, well then, fuck you. No, I'm not doing it then. They're like, well, you'll go in the paper. You feel like saying, are you going to come and suck my dick? Come and suck my dick. What's that? You don't want to suck my dick? No, you don't, do you? No, I don't want to be ridiculed by you in the paper. So then you'd say no, or just lose contact, lose interest. And then 3 months later or 2 months later, you'd see a fellow flat earther being fucking chastised in the Daily Mail. And you're like, that was the one I decided not to do. Because they sounded like and behaved like total cunts. And I didn't want to fucking know them because they were cunts. So I went, no, I'm all right, thanks. And then watched some other naive flat earther be described as a witch or whatever it was they were describing them as retards. They're just whatever scorn they felt justified in pouring on this particular individual would have been what I suffered. Now, with Vice, the woman who was doing the piece was put in touch with me by Vice. So somebody at Vice gets in touch, or I put in touch with them. I'm like, who's doing the actual piece? Oh, this person. Okay, and have they got anybody with them? They're like, no, well, not that is of influence to the piece, just a cameraman and soundman. I'm like, okay, so it's 3 of them. Yeah. They work together quite well as a team. Sometimes the cameraman's a different cameraman. You're like, okay, so you're willing to tell me about what this is going to be when I get there, first and foremost. Good sign. Well, can I speak to her? Yeah, here's her email. So you get in touch and go, hi, I've been put in touch with you because you want to do a piece on me. Oh, yes, brilliant. How would you feel about answering some questions? I'm more than willing to send you them in advance. I'm like, I don't need them in advance. But the fact that you offered, in my mind, I'm thinking, that's nice. She's not out to fuck me over immediately. She's working with me to produce a piece. And you're like, yeah, your first priority is producing a good piece. Because you've got a series where you she dealt with a tantric expert, but she didn't mock the tantric expert. So when I'm like, well, what have you done previously? She's like, it's part of a series. There's one that's already just come out. I mean, it's one of 12, and there's going to be a load of others. But the very first one we did 3 months ago has now actually just been released. Here's a link to it. So I watch it, and it's a kooky guy with a tantric fascination, right? And it's kind of, like with the theremin music, they've put a bit of wow chicka wow wow in the right comedic moment, but they're not mocking him. He's just telling you what he does and what he believes in, and everyone's happy. And it was interesting. I'm like, I can see myself doing this. And because it's been communicated back and forth what's going to happen, When we get there, and it's been arranged that we're going to have a view from Alexandra Palace, or Ali Pali as we call it, I know where I'm going to be, what the general setting's going to be, what I can talk about as a consequence of where we are. All those things I can plan in my mind so that I can produce a good piece for them. In other words, there's a kind of symbiotic relationship that forms before you've done a damn thing. When you don't get even close to that interaction with the person that's saying, yeah, I'll have you on my show. Or let's say my wife gets in touch with one of these people and they say, yes, we'll have Nathan on our show. And then she says, all right, who will be speaking to him? This person, Jonathan. Perfect. Can I give Jonathan's email address to Nathan so he can just, make the final arrangements? No. What do you mean, no? No, we do not want this person to interact until the day's in front of him. You're like, why not? What harm is there? So those sorts of things are red flags. Like, why not? So when it comes to those particular instances, there's a chance that I'll just turn around and go, fuck them. If they're not willing to work with me, then why would I work with them? They've obviously got an ulterior motive. They've got an agenda, and they don't want me to know what it is. So it's like, that's enough of a red flag for me to just walk away. There's plenty more fish in the sea. From that point of view, maybe I won't be. And now here's Wanker. Wanker's going to do the dweeby job that I couldn't be bothered to. And I'm going to watch and put my 2 pennyworth in when I see a side that's winning. That's what I'm going to try and avoid. Because it's like, you just want a tiger to thrash, don't you? You want a lion on a little pedestal. Okay, well, I'm just here to promote my book. And if that befalls me, by whatever circumstance, then I'll just accept it and just constantly plug, book. Well, you can find the answer out to that in my book. Well, I'm glad you asked. The answer to that is in page 65 of my book, chapter 5, all about gravity. You can read it now. Every answer to the dweeb that they've gone and got will be answers in my book, and it'll be tedious. It won't be a good show. But I'll be there, and the only purpose for me being there will be to promote my book. It's like, no, we expect you to debate with him. Oh, well, you can debate with my book if you want. That's all the responses that they'll get. Like, no, I'll just plug. Oh, well, how do we know that your book will solve that? Well, you'd have to buy it, wouldn't you? I'm quite excited. I've never had a reason to want to go and do what Dave Weiss did. Dave Weiss got an app and then had a purpose to go out on the circuit to expand his horizons, to promote his app. More power to him from that point of view. He's done very well with it. Well, good for you. Now I've got a product that I can go out and actually punt. That's a book,
right.
as opposed to an app. But the same purpose, the same ends will be achieved as Dave. You're like, well, to help Dave in his popularity. I mean, yes.
Maybe financially, but what was he promoting with that app? Something that's been debunked even before it started. You're putting out information that's vital, right? It's on point.
No. I've just spent the entire day today telling you how unimportant it is that you understand.
Well,
this
you
stuff.
know what I mean. You're pointing out things that are known. He's pointing out things like an AE map. There's a big difference.
To you, in terms of how much of a folly it is, we're both equal in that regard, aren't we?
No, because people are going to be buying that book because it's the journey of flat earth debate. It did happen. You can't get around it. It went on for 10 years. They're interested in that. They want to hear those stories.
Let's hope so.
Nathan, you got people waiting on pins and needles to hear the juicy betrayal story. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's a good ending. The book's got a good ending. When I heard it the first time, when my wife read it out to me, because we've been through the whole book, as in we did a complete read through before we did any edits. And when we got to the last chapter and I heard it, and she was like, that's the end of the book. I was like, wow, that's a fucking good ending. And I said it kind of, not insincere, but when I was like, oh, you've given me a good ending, fucking me over. You're kind of like trying to find the silver lining and, positive spin. But when I actually heard it read back, I'm like, good ending. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's true, too. What are you going to do? It's what happened, so you got to put it pen to paper. That's what happened. But the other thing too is it, it got a lot of people. There was a lot of people that always tried to divide the flat earth debate team. So you got people cheering that it was accomplished, right? And then you got people feeling bad that that's what happened. And then you have people that are like, I don't give a shit. Just get the book out.
Yeah, I totally get it. You know, there's going to be a morbid fascination for certain people to hear that particular anecdote, but it's just an anecdote at the end of the day. I mean, a lot of the book is talking about factual information about actual Earth measurements and the progress of housekeeping. And then in between, you've got some anecdotal stories about the various different characters that we've encountered along the way. You know, some of them are more important than others.
I do think you got to try to use your ability in putting words together. I don't know. I think that's got to be highlighted. That final housekeeping question right at the end of the freaking book, worded in such a way that would be so powerful because all of the other ones are redundant, but not that one.
Yeah, my
That
intention
one.
is to weave that in with a story that seems to be, we can't find a place for it. So it sounds like it should come at the beginning because I'm talking about a very early interviewee on Flat Earth UK 3 called Robin Poe when she's measuring a relay station link up between her in Italy, in Ferrari in Italy, and she's got a mountain range between her and the next 25-mile relay. And instead of trying to faff around getting this 25-mile distance relay to work, she points the transceiver at the original source 110 miles away and gets a perfect signal. Now, when she's talking about this to me, she's describing how there's a lack of Earth curve. I'm sure you can probably figure out where I'm going with this. My intention is to weave that story into the fact that every part of the story required 25 miles, 110 miles, you know, flat Earth prerequisites, which direction was your transceiver pointing, you know what I mean? All of these flat Earth prerequisites that at the time, at the beginning of the journey, you've got this perceived debate that's creating a group that you can call flat Earth. And in order to achieve that, you need both sides, in this case, the flat earther, to ignore how flat your description of distances to then make a conclusion that there's a lack of Earth curve when you've measured Earth flat to make that conclusion. So it's a personal group that's developed that are in sympathy with the baller's requirement to utilize flat Earth prerequisite measurements to make the exact same mistake. Claim that Earth's spherical with flat Earth distance measurements and angles and so forth. So from that perspective, I'm intending to weave in what should be a very early Flat Earth UK style chapter about Robin Poe into a chapter that describes how the final housekeeping measurement question, is there any evidence that Earth is measured anything other than flat, supersedes all previous questions, undermines all previous questions, but moreover points out to the audience, the reader in this instance, that we whistled past how flat Earth is required for everyone always to be having the so-called debate. And in asking, is there any evidence that Earth is measured anything other than flat, it highlights, when you answer the question, no, that you'll always require this prerequisite of flat Earth measurement to hold true for all circumstances, for everyone, without exception. So that'll be the last but one chapter, if you like, because it'll be incorporated into the anecdote of Robin Poe before the final, chapter 13. So that's where that'll get weaved in. That's what I'm anticipating doing. It's just I haven't actually written that particular bit that I've just described verbally to you. It won't be a task much to get, dictating that to Paula when we get to stage where we're at chapter 12, moving on to chapter 13. I'll be like, this is where we need the Robin Poe anecdote, and I can call this the final housekeeping question chapter, and then title it any evidence that Earth is measured anything other than flat, and then describe the redundancy that has then subsequently put into the former housekeeping questions that the readers just read about.
Yeah, I like it so far.
I don't know when we'll do the next chapter.
Why someone would have steal it.
My wife said that she's willing to do some this evening, but she's just literally got back from karate with Clover.
What colour belt is Clover?
I don't know, I'll ask her. Clover, what colour belt are you?
Yellow and white.
Yellow and white.
I knew it. I was going to say that. I was going to say
yellow belt, white tag, my wife says.
I can't remember the colour scheme, but might be orange next.
I don't know, but my wife's just come in with a Pikachu hat and it's hilarious. Yeah, go and have a look. She's wearing a... Everyone's laughing at my wife.
What's gone quiet, just saying, Nathan, I am so happy with this new approach of leaving the David Keegans of the world behind and not having to respond to them. I think that's great. In fact, that's going to hurt them more than us staying here with them and debating and winning.
I only caught after that. You're happy that we're moving on and leaving what behind?
The David Keegans of YouTube.
Well, it's just, you got to ask yourself, when you're in high school, at some point, you do this unconsciously. You do this without really thinking about it. You assess, do I want to hang around with that dweeb? And you, most of the time, without even having to give it any thought, go, no. So you remove yourself from the presence of those dweebs. You know, you just naturally do it.
Yeah, it's just you're taking the whole scenario is it's so true, and really the whole thing has been a folly, to be honest. But the fact that we can look at it and laugh about it, I think that's what separates us.
Because it was never a debate. We were the clowns that stood in it so long. Took us forever to realize it, right?
Well, you can only look back at it and laugh on it if you have no regrets. Whereas there's going to be a section of people that not only aren't living in the moment to the point where they're like, you know, this time next year there'll be a billion flat earthers. This time in 10 years there'll be everybody converted. And we go, you don't matter. You know, you didn't have any influence on it. It was being measured flat anyway. And they go, bastard, how dare you? I am consequential. Secretly, I'm actually the king. I'm going to lead everyone to flat earth. How dare you? You're like, okay. I mean, be honest though, you admit that you have been persecuted and ridiculed holding that position for at least a couple of years. Why would you think that anything will change? And the answer is it won't. You've been ushered into this position to argue with, you know, jam jar glasses over here, this unfuckable golem over there. Well, you want to do that? Is that your idea of fun? It's like, okay, good for you. If that is your idea of fun, just go and do it away from me. It's like back in high school, you detach yourself from that group. You go, okay, well, you've told me Dungeons and Dragons is the best thing. Well, I get that, but I don't want any part of it. I'm really sorry.
Well, the reason why you'd done, if you remember, nobody was coming in. This is when we were still in debate form, right? So Pet Man suggested, well, we'll go to them, and we did, and it served its purpose. But that's yesterday's news. Another level now. So I started to hate it because we're just keeping them relevant. You know?
Yeah, you've got to be a bit selfish. They're demanding your attention. That's all that's happening. And it's become more and more glaring, thanks to a couple of specific individuals, where they're literally screaming, "Pay attention to me!" Like, the more you do that, now that we've gone We Don't Care, you've raged about how consequential our opinion is to you and demanded that we hear you. And it is repulsive. It is forcing them away quicker. Not because they're desperately trying to keep their fingernails and claws in us, because that, like I say, is the thing that's repulsing them, or making them seem more repulsive to everyone around us. You're like, really? I must listen to gravity? I sent my wife to sleep with that the other night. You realise that, you unfuckable little golem? We're good. Go and grab your 16-sided dice and play Dungeons and Dragons on your own. Find a fellow dweeb that you can wipe the snot from your nose on the sleeves of your coats together. With your anoraks and your adenoids and your actuallys. There's a dweeb out there for all these dweebs. But they're just not us. Now, for whatever reason, we got roped into it. Now, as much as I hate to admit it, I hate to categorise myself in this group, we're the bong-smoking, spliff-smoking hippies that talked about 9/11. But societally, who do more people like? Do they like the bong-smoking hippies talking about conspiracies, or the adenoidal fucking golems? Which are more accepted in society? Well, unfortunately, it's the conspiracy touting, not the boring mathematicians and the dweebs. They're less accepted. That's just fact. These are all metaphors. I'm not suggesting anybody actually is huffing bongs. That's not what I'm saying.
Smoke them if you got them.
I was about to. Somebody opens their mic and goes, "What did you say?" Say what?
But when you measure it flat, it contradicts that. I'm spitting flat facts and that. And I know you don't like that. Google Maps is flat, it presents elevation profiles like that. I'm a spitting flat earth king. Sentence has a ring, doing my own thing. If Earth was a big roast chicken, factually finger licking chicken. We just got the measurements missing. I'm spitting eggs and begs, begging the question lesson. I've said it before, time after time. I'm the spitting flat earth king of rhyme.